That's okay, because it's my third time hearing it already.
Yes. Well, you know, what needs to happen is that you need to press the go live button.
Yes, typically helps.
And it's playing on my other computer through the speakers, so I'll be right back.
Why am I not seeing it live on Rumble?
There's chat on Rumble.
Yeah. It's just not live on Rumble.
Did you refresh?
Yeah, I refreshed.
It's going.
Okay.
I see it live.
Must be just on my end.
Maybe it just isn't like.
Oh, that's weird. One browser is showing it fine, the other one finally just decided to start working. The Rumble took its sweet time this time.
Sweet, sweet Rumble. I still have that Notzilla trailer up.
God. What the hell?
Damn it! For those of you out here who think that this is easy, it is. I just suck. Let's see what they're saying about me here. All right.
I think it auto switched just fine. It just didn't on our end.
Maybe.
Salt butter, 40% higher than salt. That's right. So salt is. Oh yeah, it did. It didn't switch on our end. Weird.
What the heck?
The auto switch is always weird.
It used to be alright.
Is it playing the intro now again?
It's showing the actual yelling at parts of the intro at the moment, and it's coming to an end, so we should be live in just a second.
What
On
the
screen.
actual fuck is going on?
Ladies and gentlemen.
Because okay, now it's on.
Joe
us.
Biden just tripped up the stairs.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm seeing it, but it's like everything on our end is all jacked up. It's like it
Oh, yeah.
started the intro over again. It's like what the hell? Yeah,
Wow.
it's kind of hard to.
Stupid
the
Ukrainian
show.
programming.
Is it Ukrainian? That explains.
I don't
a
know
lot.
what the hell it is.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday.
I like how our chat is helping us troubleshoot.
Yeah,
As
it's
well.
life for me honorable. Yeah.
Just imagine
Well, I
what it
mean-
would be like if we weren't on stage and we could be talking amongst ourselves going, did it go?
What? What are we doing?
Instead of live?
Huh?
Is it safe?
You know,
I mean,
Shay.
okay, so like
Mhm.
on my monitor over here, I have the stream pulled up, right? So I
Yeah.
can flip between YouTube
answer
and
what?
Rumble. I have the stream on
Oh,
my
sorry.
monitor, Toxic Man Flu. So
Blah
I
blah
can
blah. What the hell?
watch
I'm
it.
sorry. Okay, got it.
And so it's like it's weird because it's like, okay, it didn't start, it's not going, now it's going, and
Oh.
Evox is being weird.
So Jim V833 says I see Simple Comics. So there you go.
Ah, fuck you guys. All right, here's the rest of the crew. I can stop
Oh, hi.
talking shit
Hello.
about me. Anyway,
What do you mean talking shit about you?
just messing around.
Wow.
Hi.
Wow. I don't know. I sound
you-
like what's his name? Owen Wilson. Wow.
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 We are old. We are
We're
Old.
old. We are so
we're
old.
so old.
Anyway,
Well, you guys are.
so did you guys hear about a just kind of a strange boating accident?
A different kind of boating accident.
Different kind of boating accident.
Yeah.
Didn't involve
What
guns.
are you talking about? It is the second one that ship has been involved in.
Yeah, I know. That was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's the 3-body problem, those proton things or whatever they were. I don't know. I didn't quite understand it because, Brahma Bull started talking about it, fell asleep. But no, that was 7. Well, somebody started talking about it. We were talking about it Monday, but maybe it was that proton thing. The eye in the sky went through and just kind of messed up that boat because
The
somebody
Sophon?
didn't like was on
Yeah.
the bridge.
Yeah, maybe.
It
Maybe
sucks
didn't-
people died from that. It really does. I'm gonna say
Yeah,
that.
it does. It's
It's
unfortunate.
awful. It really is a tragedy. But that
Yeah.
bridge folded up.
Well, it was
Yeah.
it was pretty crazy, dude. Because I watched the footage like multiple times last night, and it was like the sped up version. Because like if you just look at it, you're like, wow, it's aiming for the fucking pillar.
Right.
And one of the things on like I think it was like the second or third time I was watching it, I noticed that the lights went out on the ship. I was like, oh damn,
Twice.
yeah.
It went out. They
Well,
came
because
back.
the one
and went
I saw it happened, but it wasn't in frame to see it.
out.
The first time, but the second time it's like very obvious. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Yeah. That whole situation's weird. But based off of like the maintenance history and the fact that the guy piloting it, like I don't know if this is the same pilot, but like I guess it was like 20 years ago because it was like 2006 when it hit a pier.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah,
It's a
this whole
while
thing
back.
is it's weird, right? And we when we live in this kind of like strange world that we live in now, my immediate reaction is, what the fuck's going on? Right? Immediately go
Mhm.
conspiracy on this. I honestly think that this is just an accident because if the ship actually did lose power
Right.
and they were told to turn left, which turned them right into the pillar.
Yeah.
Or the
Sadly,
Exactly.
the fact that they came out and immediately said it is an accident is the
Yeah.
only thing that makes me think it wasn't.
I know. It's like the whole thing.
Mhm.
It's like
If
whenever
the government,
yeah,
if the
whenever
government tells you it's an accident, then it
think it
wasn't.
yeah,
If somebody else takes claim for it, then you know it was probably the government.
yeah. So, yeah, it's one of those things that because of the crazy world we live in, I have a hard time believing it is anything related or it has to be something conspiratorial. But it's like when you start digging into the facts, it's just like, okay, all right, there's probably nothing really to see here. So, who
Yeah, and
knows?
Yeah.
it's a sad thing. Those kind of things happen all the time.
Right.
And you lose power in a ship. Really, it is scary as hell.
Hmm.
You see some of those ships in the. I used to watch Deadliest Catch a lot, and one of the ships lost power, and they're freaking out because you're out there in the middle of those kind of waves without being able to steer through them and turn yourself to them. You'll roll and sink real quick.
Hmm.
And those container ships without power, they're so top heavy. All that it doesn't take much to do that, and you're driving to work early in the morning, boom, and
Yeah.
what do you know? And it just down it went.
Well, the funny thing about it is like one of our DM groups, Brahma mentioned, kind of reminds me of that movie, Leave the World Behind. You know, the
Yeah.
ones the Obamas funded or produced.
That one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
The
like
highly
wow, that is
prophetic
kind of
movie?
like that almost. Where,
Did the boat go back and to the left and back and to the left?
it did.
I'm waiting for that. You know,
Yeah.
somebody do that. Watch the video. It goes back and to the left. I'm just waiting.
Hmm. But at the end of the day, you know, I'm not going to say it wasn't terrorism simply because it is. It could be a possibility, but you know, I'm not really going to go the conspiracy route unless I have more evidence.
Well, Emperor Sentment's correct. So much like trains, they cannot stop on a dime. You cannot
Yeah.
stop a ship on a dime. It doesn't happen
No.
like that.
Oh, not
Especially
one like
when
that.
you lose steerage and
Right.
the ability to reverse the props.
You can't do anything.
I mean,
Right.
when the power went out, it goes out, comes back on, you see the thick smoke. So something went wrong in the engine room. That seems pretty clear. Then the power goes out again. But when the generators come back on, the emergency generators, those aren't made to fully power the ship.
Right.
They're made to be backup generators, not to have enough power to do everything the ship needs to do. So in that short amount of time, yeah, I doubt the backup generators were able to do anything. And if there was some kind of explosion in the engine room or whatever happened back there that caused all the smoke,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah,
it just seems like a calamity of errors.
I bet if
Well-
they go into the engine room and see what was all the smoke, it would be Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, there was a marijuana joke.
I know. Southern Bell says No, one was a. I'm going to leave the I off because I don't think she meant I. One was a pilot. The other one was an apprentice. Yeah. So apparently when they go and they leave port like that, they have pilots that know how to navigate the port, and one was an actual pilot, and the other one was basically kind of like his trainee. Um, so it
Right.
wasn't the actual pilots that normally run the ship that crashed it. Yeah, thanks for reminding me of that.
Right. Well,
But at this
have
point, should
pilots
there
that
be
run
tugs
the force.
guiding everybody in
I don't know.
and out?
Well, I mean, they have boats that take them. So the pilots come in and bring the boats into the ports and out.
Yeah.
So you got people doing that. There are lots and lots of pilots. And let's face it, Baltimore's not exactly a stupendous place to live these days.
No, but it is a major port, though.
It
Yeah.
is a major port.
Supply
so
chain's
it's
going to
never-
be screwed
Yeah.
again.
At least those were out. So I
Mhm.
know that our beach punk merch is going to make it.
That's
You know,
important.
I personally, I'm blaming the racist bridge.
It was. That bridge stood, it moved right into that ship's way.
Yeah.
Now, did you guys hear Buttigieg?
Oh,
No.
yeah. He came out
No,
and
what'd
said
he
that oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Basically, he said that, well, we need to take a look at our infrastructure. In New York, some of these underpasses were made to not be big enough for buses full of black and brown children to get to the beach intentionally. So these are, by definition, racist bridges.
What?
Yes, that is what he said.
I remember something being said like that several years ago. I want to
It
say
may
it's
have been
probably-
several years, and it may have just resurfaced. But I mean, that's the line from Pete going out around Twitter right now.
No, yeah, I remember hearing something like that when the infrastructure bill was being passed.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was like this thing about how infrastructure was a racist. And it's like, okay, whatever. That's how you know you can't take racism seriously anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
Infrastructure.
But yeah, I mean, I know that Pinochet mentioned that the sped up footage looks weird. It does.
Yeah.
It does. And I was watching the sped up footage too. But that's the thing that's interesting about it too, because it makes you wonder how long the power was out since it was sped up.
Well, that was 8 times speed, the
Yeah.
sped up version. So, I mean, it was long enough that they were able to call the harbor master. They were able to get the Mayday out. They were able to close down the bridge. Because from what I have heard and seen, there were no cars still left on the bridge when it collapsed. There was the 6
that's
people who
good.
died were city workers repairing
Why
potholes
didn't they get
on the
them the
bridge.
fuck off the bridge then? If
I
they
don't know. If they weren't in their vehicle with radios, then they may not have heard anything. I don't know if you absolutely do not send a car out there to warn them because I don't know.
Depends on how much
But-
time they had.
Yeah.
Yet another excuse not to fill potholes.
Yep. Indeed. Let me get Pinochet's
Just got a couple
remembrance real quick. He says, Ukraine boat captain who is mandated to bring the ship out of port before real crew takes over. They pulled the VDR today. I know they pulled the black box. My problem with that is the black box only records up to 24 hours.
Right. They have a limited recording capability.
Yeah. I mean, that should be enough, though, shouldn't it? I mean, it's
I
legal
don't know when
port, right?
it's. Well, it was 1:30 a.m. What was it last night or was it 2 nights ago? I don't know. The
Rumble
days are all
allows you-
mixing anymore.
Yeah. Well, it happened yesterday, like early morning.
So 1:30
yesterday.
a.m. on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Well, 1:30. Yeah, 1:30 Eastern.
Yep. Let's see. Chris Meat says anything weighing millions of tons can't stop on time. Yes. Yeah. 100%. That's very true. And that was like one of the things that the Red State article I was reading talking about that mentioned the whole thing is like, even if you lose power, you're just gonna fucking coast.
Yeah, because you
Right.
lose steerage too.
Well, it depends. Like with the rudder and stuff of those ships, it depends on where they were and where. So most of those container ships, not only do they have a rudder, but they also have assisted steering. So they have these propellers on underneath that will turn with them.
Mhm.
So if they were set to do something and those were still going when power goes out, the motors don't stop on a dime either.
Mhm.
So
Right.
the propellers are still going to go, and they're going to move that ship. And most of the time, you see them going down. It's not just the propulsion from the rear; they have propulsion from steerage too, from there. So I don't know. I think it was an accident.
I
From
lean
there,
that way. Yeah.
I lean
yeah,
that way as well.
yeah. I know
I
you
mean,
both lean that way, but we're not having that kind of show.
shut up, man, flu.
What?
All right, Peter Shea's helicopter tours. The 6 missing work crew are apparently 3 pairs of 2 from 3 different South American countries. Carter was president when it was built. The
The
point
bridge?
wasn't to take life. The point was to screw the port.
Yeah. If it was a cyber issue or something.
Yeah, I mean, if
Yes.
it was a cyber issue, yeah, that you
Yeah.
know, going after infrastructure, it makes the most sense out
It's
of
the way to go.
anything else. Yeah.
I'm just not prepared to.
Yeah,
agree to
I'm not. Like I
that
said, I'm
being what
not. I'm not
happened yet.
ruling out the possibility. I just, like I said, I need more evidence than just the footage that we saw. Hello, cat. But you never know. And the other thing too is that normally when terrorism is involved, you know, somebody usually jumps to the claim it. Well, I guess if it's Middle Eastern terrorism, if it was either Russia or China, obviously they wouldn't take responsibility because that
Well,
would
that
be an
and
act of war.
you would do it when the bridge is full of people. You wouldn't call the Mayday in. And well, if it's a cyber attack, I guess the guys on the boat wouldn't know.
Mhm.
So
Well, yeah,
yeah, they
if
would
it's a
still
cyber attack,
Mayday. But
they wouldn't know. But at the same time, you know, if it's state sponsored terrorism, like with China and Russia, they're probably not going to go for the collateral damage. They're going to go for the not destruction
Right.
of the port because the port wasn't destroyed, but basically hampering our
Closed
capabilities
bridge.
when it
Yeah.
comes to the access to ports. That's what I think why they weren't going for collateral.
Yeah.
Turbot says for $2 says, you know what Pete Buttigieg, Buttigieg,
Booty jig.
Buttigieg.
You mentioned Pete Buttigieg, and the cat comes by.
Yeah,
That's kind of weird. He doesn't
That's-
like your types, cat.
yeah, cat's kind of annoying. So thanks, cat. You're getting in the way. And ambulance have it was Buttigieg and was have in common. They both get loaded from the rear and go woo woo woo.
Woo woo.
Yeah, I heard that one when I was in college, but it wasn't obviously Pete Buttigieg. He judges booties because he's a booty judge. I know that's awful.
Yeah, it was.
It was completely awful.
I mean, there's just
Okay.
so much stuff that we don't know yet, and we probably never will. But it is sad that we've gotten to the point where we're just jumping to these conclusions.
Right. Pinochet
stuff from you.
says for
Yeah.
$2. No, you aren't thinking properly. Yes, I am. I'm not saying terrorism or cyber attack. Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's not what I was getting at with you, man. I'm
He's not
saying
reading
inside
property,
job,
man.
the CIA is aligned with the UN. Come on, buddy. I need more evidence. It's like I get your point, and I understand why we jump to these conclusions.
Yeah.
But
It could very well be.
Yeah, I mean,
Shea is
and again,
often not wrong.
not ruling that out either. I
Yeah.
just, like I said, I need more evidence than that.
I feel about it the same way I feel about the Jared and Crowder thing. Everybody had one opinion yesterday, and they've got a different opinion today, and it's somewhere in the middle. And I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't even know what's going on with that. Really, no clue.
I have no idea either.
Don't jump in the middle of people's divorces. Is what's going on with that. in
Oh
my
yeah,
opinion.
that's just something. No, God dang divorce.
Well, I saw the quartering live on Twitter, and it said Crowder drama, and I was like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is going on now?
The one guy, I think I put that in the DMs on Twitter. Is retweeted the quartering, saying that one more allegation, all this stuff and everything, and there'll be an addition to the lawsuit. or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, okay.
Yeah. It's a whole thing between not gay Jared and Crowder.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. Lindsay,
My
just-
Wi-Fi just went down, so the router may be taking a dump. So
Okay.
if I disappear, I'll try to get back as quick as I can.
Right on. Lindsay the Cynical Geek says, I stopped supporting Crowder after Dave Landau left.
A lot of people did.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of leads to what the hell's up with Candace Owens and the Daily Wire and all that stuff?
That's another thing I don't give a shit about either.
Yeah, I
That
know.
one's-
I'm like, what the hell, you know? And
That one's also pretty simple. She's aligned herself with a lot of anti-Semitism, and you've got Ben Shapiro leading the Daily Wire. He may not be the CEO, but he's the biggest voice there.
Yeah, there's that, and
There's been problems for the past year.
yeah. Well, I know that I think at this point, what it comes down to is their contract was up, and I don't think either side wanted to renew.
I don't know that it got to the contract being up because Boring went on a Spaces a couple nights ago,
Oh, did he?
and somebody asked him, and he says, "I'm not going to comment on the firing," or something to that effect.
Oh,
So the
okay.
word firing was used.
Okay,
Whether he slipped or not, don't know.
got it. Yeah, I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
Again, it's just like
It's just
it's
conservative
a side I'm not
media
gonna-
tearing itself down too.
Yeah, it's a side I'm not going to take on that one because I quite frankly don't care.
right.
Yeah.
It
Exactly.
it's more proof that the left, far right are the same side. Two sides the same coin
Yeah.
when it comes to that. Because I mean, really, to me, I don't know what you did, but outside of something being extremely egregious, eh, what? I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's me.
Speaking of things that are egregious, hello, Brandon. How are you?
There he is.
Howdy, Morse.
Hell of it. I love that. The best introduction I've ever got. I'm doing great. Sorry I'm late.
Well, yeah. Hey, you made it. That's the important thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's the I was egregiously late. That's my issue.
Egregiously late. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough, man.
Egregious, I
What's your take on this whole you know, I want to say tanker cargo
Where,
ship? There we go.
Brandon, were you when
Baltimore
this
ship.
tanker?
Yeah.
Ship,
Where
yeah.
were you the night of the accident in Baltimore?
I
Brandon
think he was on
Morris?
the blaze with Stu.
I actually have an alibi.
Yep.
I wasn't there when it was
Were
happening.
you there at 3:00 in the morning?
So it was that was actually pre-taped. So I could have been anywhere. So I can either confirm or deny that I was turning the power on and off of a ship as it was careening toward a bridge.
So now all I'm hearing is it's a possibility.
It's a
Brandon
possibility
Morse.
that it was me,
Yeah.
but I'm not saying that.
So anyway,
Well, let's see.
what's-
You are middle
what's your-
class,
What's your
white,
take on it?
with a beard. You are a terrorist.
I don't know. Here, my honest to God opinion is that I don't know if the company has anything like DEI related. The people who built that ship or whatever, how old the ship is.
It's been around for a while, so I mean the whole DEI thing. I'm not even associating with this.
Yeah, I kind of don't think it was either. From what I understand about boats, though, is like sometimes they are prone to malfunction, and
Mhm.
and they lose power. They don't lose power. I used to be a deckhand, and we would like weird shit would happen on the boat all the time. We'd have to fix it. So I don't want to go like think it's like some sort of conspiracy theory that's happening yet.
Yes,
I want to definitely stick around to see, what. Give me more information before I actually start pointing fingers. Is my
Yeah,
thing, because-
that's the whole
Yeah.
thing with me. It's like I got to rule out a bunch of other things before I jump to conspiracy.
yeah.
And, I mean, there's plenty of times where things kind of feel that way.
Yes, absolutely. And it's been a lot lately.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, I feel, I don't blame people for immediately jumping to the idea that there was some sort
Oh,
of
I don't
like,
either.
nefarious thing happening, because so often that is the case. That is the case.
Yep.
What
Well,
is a
and that's
conspiracy
where-
theorist, but a person like what is it called? I'm a spoiler alertist. I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
But that's where the difference between conspiracy theory and just asking questions is. I mean, if
Right.
we're all just raising concerns and asking questions, that's doing that. The conspiracy theorists are the ones that have been on Twitter posting, well, this ship was built in Singapore and its name originally meant this, which means White Lion, and White Lion was the name of the ship in that Obama movie. So obviously this is all
Obviously.
connected.
Yeah, obviously.
I can't remember which show
White
I was
Lion
watching
was
earlier.
a band in the 80s.
Right. But it was also the name of the ship in that movie that Obama did on Netflix. And they're trying to get any ties to that. And it's like, yeah, the Netflix thing was interesting, but that's taken it a bit far.
The-
That's a
the name of the
conspiracy
boat
theory.
Is
Saying,
going to now be P. Diddy did it.
Yeah. So
Did
I mean,
diddler.
Did he do it?
Did he diddle?
Did he?
Did he diddle?
Well, you mentioned the Obama thing, and I was seeing stuff all over Twitter today about the whole thing with P. Diddy and video of when Leonardo DiCaprio testified against Obama in some kind of trafficking trial. And I'm like, what the
hell?
happened?
I know, that was
Yeah,
weird.
that
So
came out
so
of
there's this,
nowhere.
and there's that, and then there's the Crowder stuff, and then there's all kinds of just boom. I'm like,
Yeah, this is
what
one
the
of those
heck is
days
this? Is this
where you just want to log off?
overload.
Wednesday? Is,
Be like, y'all have it.
Yeah.
yeah, go for it, because
Well, I mean, the funny thing too, when it comes to like random things that are going on in the world, because like one of the things I will jump to conspiracy, or maybe there's something to it, was like when we were seeing all these food processing plants burned down, and I
Right.
get that because of certain things, like a good example of this is like powdered creamer. Okay, probably not responsible, but that shit's highly flammable. Same thing with like granaries. Like when it comes to that really fine like dust and powder, can be very flammable. So it's like I understand that there is situations where food processing plants do catch fire, but over like the last several years, we had a lot of them catching fire or getting closed or something really horrible like a plane crashing into it. It's like, what the fuck is going on?
And
The
how
plane
none of them
crashes
have fire
into those.
retardant systems.
yeah, the plane crashes into the food processing plants because there was like 5 or 6 of them.
Mhm.
Southern Belt, there was way too many of those.
Yeah, it's like the whole thing for me is when I start seeing a pattern, it's like, okay, there's got to be something to it, right?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Once I always say once is an anomaly, twice is a coincidence, 3 times it's a pattern.
Yeah. And that's something I've always said too. It's like I'm not actually big into conspiracy theorists, but I do recognize patterns.
Yeah.
And once it's a pattern, that's when you start to go, okay, this is no longer a coincidence. This is something we need to start figuring out.
Mhm.
Like heart issues.
Yeah. Like certain things we can't talk about on YouTube.
Speaking of
You
YouTube,
can't
we
say
are.
that on YouTube. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
That was good.
Speaking of YouTube, I now have the power of
Yeah, it's
mod
just-
on the Yelling at Park Cars channel,
You only
which we are
whined about
simulcasting
it for like the last 10 minutes. Jesus.
And Tom does say that's kind of how patterns work. Yes, Tom, I deal with comics on a daily basis. Just gonna say, it's a pattern. It's like I was in a speech class trying to finish my degree here several years ago, and the adjunct professor, whatever they are at community colleges and stuff, it's like, America's a patchwork quilt. We're just I'm like, no, we're not. We're a freaking melting pot. And they're handed. So I brought a quilt, and I brought a woven fabric blanket. I said, okay, pull them apart. And the patchwork quilt just came apart after a little while, and the other one did not. I'm like, there you go. And that was one of the speeches I had to give, or something like that. With I had to do, you do a speech, and then you have to do the show and tell and all that, prop crap. The teacher did not like that at all. But I'm like, yeah, and fuck off. Sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It's fine.
go over to Yelling at Park Cars and sign up over there. We're going to try and get monetized on that channel with this content. So wish us luck, America. That was after they discovered fire, Chris. Yes. After they discovered fire.
After who discovered fire?
I don't know, whatever Chris said.
Okay.
Whatever Chris does.
Pinochet's helicopter tour is for $5, I believe. It says phase 2 of the Treasuries and Swift payment system, CBDC, that's central bank digital currency. For those of you who don't know, test finished today. Oh God, I mean, it's coming whether we like it or not. They're going to crash the system. Remember, Obama had the secret meeting in the UK, and New York Times admitted Barry is in charge.
He did just have secret meetings like a week or two ago.
Yeah. The central bank digital currency. Yeah, I mean it's coming. I agree with you 100% on that one, Peter Shea. The best way for them to implement that is to fucking crash the system, crash our money. That's kind of their goal, I think. And I think that's also the
Yeah.
reason why the economy is fucked up. And of course, they go and blame it on Trump, but last I
Oh, why
checked,
not?
Trump hasn't been president for the last 4 fucking years. So,
True.
also this summer, the UN pandemic treaty must be finalized and potentially could cede U.S. sovereignty. Chances
Nice.
a rigged system doesn't start propaganda to make globalism seem good. Dems are taking Congress. Yeah, that's one of the things that Bram and I were talking about before we went live. Was the whole thing with all these Republicans that are resigning?
Yeah.
And it's a good possibility. I know we briefly mentioned this last week, but they could retake the House not because they won elections, but enough
Because
Republicans
enough never
resigned.
Trumpers are going to step down without an appointment so
Mhm.
that the Dems can automatically take over the speakership.
Um,
Started with Ken Buck. He said there was going to be more following. We had another one drop last week, Mike Gallagher.
so where are we at now?
We've got one
One.
extra vote.
Wow.
That's insane.
And
is
Marjorie
insane.
Taylor Greene calling for a change in speakership.
She's just part of that group now. All I'm going to say about Marjorie Taylor Greene is that Kevin McCarthy must have a magic dick. That's all I'm saying, because that woman turned on it. She went from being the only one because she was tossed out of committees to going to the votes and making them all go and do a stand-up vote, present vote, in-person vote, to getting others to do that, to just falling in love with Kevin McCarthy's dick. And I just don't get it. That place, was it Washington? George Washington said we shouldn't have a permanent capital and it should move. There was several of the founding fathers said we shouldn't have a permanent cap.
Mhm.
Right.
The
No seat of
government.
power.
Yeah, no seat of power and stuff from there. And it should move around. And I think it's time to move the capital of the United States to Topeka, Kansas. Smack dab in the middle of freaking nowhere. And just move everything there.
Why
And
not move
yeah,
it to Florida into an actual swamp?
well, I've been in
That's
that
a- that's
corridor
a good
multiple
question.
times. So you got Washington, D.C., Baltimore, you got New Jersey, Maryland, all of that stuff's right there, right? New York and everything. It's just a short flight away from
Yeah.
anywhere. And the trains actually make sense there because of the population density.
Mhm.
And it's just, you go to D.C., it's just oppressive. The feeling
Well,
and stuff there.
One thing I didn't realize how bad Baltimore was until I went there back in 2014.
Yeesh.
Ew.
Yeah, I was a consultant at the time, and I had to do a lot of travel, so I was basically sent to places
Mhm.
that I
Yeah.
didn't necessarily have a choice on
Right.
whether I was going to or not. And yeah, I mean, it was nuts, man. It was like, oh wow, this place is a shithole, like legit a shithole.
In the late 90s, I was also consultant flying around, and I went to a place in New Jersey, and they called me beforehand and said, okay, directions, everything, go to here. And this is for GPS, right?
Mm.
And directions, go here, do this and that. Do not stop at this stop sign. Blow it and go straight into the parking lot for the company. I'm like, okay.
Wrong neighborhood to stop in.
Yeah, so I just blew by it, went in there. There was a cop there. He waved at me, and I went in and thing.
He even fucking stop you.
No, he didn't. So I go in and I'm like, and after the first day, you get set up and do all this stuff. The second day, I'm like, what the hell is up with this? And they say, watch at lunch. We watched. Somebody stopped, carjacked immediately
Fuck.
with the
Holy
cop there.
shit.
So they carjacked the guy, threw him out, got in the car, took off. Cop chased him. It's like, dang, Jersey City sucks. Yeah,
Wow.
it did. It was, Baltimore had some very beautiful places in it
Yeah.
at that time, because shortly after that, I would go and take the Acelia down from New York to Baltimore
Mhm.
to do some work down in that area, and it wasn't that bad. It's really just dumped out since we supposedly had the greatest president of all time, Obama,
Mhm.
and
Funny
I've been
that.
in that area since. It's awful. Just what it's done in New York. I've said it multiple times. I lived in New York for a while, and I don't recognize the city I live in
Yeah.
at all.
What were you gonna say, Brandon?
I was saying no. I was saying funny that the president that was supposed to fix everything for that community
Did
failed
nothing.
that community.
Yeah.
But I was in New York years ago, and I remember falling in love with it. And every story I've heard of like since then, like I would be afraid to go back there. I don't want to step foot. You know, it just sounds like it's become a real hellhole, and a lot of it because that blue state leadership hasn't just caused citizens to suffer, like tax wise, money wise, living cost of living and stuff like that, but they're making police officers run. Like
Mm.
it's almost getting to a point now where it's just lawless.
Well,
down
I
there.
mean, the 2020 and BLM did some massive damage to the policing in this country,
Mm-hmm.
and it hasn't recovered. And we're also at the point where police officers are legit afraid to go after criminals now because
Yes.
what happens if the suspect is black and there's a situation where he dies in custody, and then we have BLM 2.0.
Right. Exactly. No one wants to be the next Derek Chauvin.
Yeah,
You know.
exactly. Nobody wants to be the next Derek Chauvin, and everybody talks about Derek Chauvin, but they don't talk about the actual arresting officer who was biracial, half
Mhm.
black, half white. He got hung out to dry along with the other officers, and the disgusting thing about it, there is enough evidence to clear all of them, and there won't be.
Right.
It's not going to happen because it's so fucking political.
And even if you're a citizen, I mean, like you don't want to be the next Daniel Penny.
Yeah.
Like you are supposed to bow your head and allow the criminal to do whatever they want to do, because if you interfere and then they get hurt for any reason, you're boned.
Well, that's
you
the
know?
thing that's crazy, right? Is that
Yeah.
we see what happened with Daniel Penny. So he gets arrested. There was another incident where a black man had to subdue another black man, and he was let out.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have all these incidents in New York with these migrants, criminal aliens, let me get that straight, that get tagged and released essentially.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the one guy who is trying to be a good Samaritan and help people and save people's lives from this guy who's kind of out of control. No, he's a fucking murderer.
Yeah. Which is nutty because, like, I mean, in any other world,
Yeah.
he saved people. Like this is a guy who was known to be off his rocker and get violent with innocent people.
Mhm.
You know, what is a man supposed to do in this case? Not be
I
a
think
man?
you've kind of hit the point right there. They are trying to destroy manhood. I've been doing some tweets about fatherhood and needing good men,
Mhm.
right? And they are trying to destroy that. And
That's a part of it. I don't think it's necessarily in that situation. I think what they're trying to do, it falls into that whole anarcho tyranny, right? Because they don't want you to stand up for yourself. They don't want you to go and defend other people. Meanwhile, you have legitimate people who have entered this country illegally. Nothing's being done about it. We have the president of the United States apologizing to a murderer for calling him an illegal alien.
yeah.
And he when he fucking said the name of the victim wrong, he should be apologizing to the family, not the victim, for saying, "Oh, he's an illegal alien." It's just like that is fucking insanity. It goes back to the whole
it's
thing.
almost an Onion article.
Yeah,
If
it's
Onion
almost
is
an Onion article. It's up is down, left is right, good is evil, and that's one of the things that I keep seeing is that whole saying that evil is good,
Right.
to a degree, right? I mean,
Well, yeah, because I mean, if you do step in like that guy does, then you get charged with murder or
Mhm.
manslaughter, whatever.
Right.
But if you're one of the many people just recording everything on a phone, you don't get in trouble for anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't want you doing anything, but they do want it seen.
It's such a weird turn of events. Like in the 90s, wasn't there like a joke that was being made on Seinfeld about the Good Samaritan law?
I don't know. Never really watched.
Don't
Seinfeld.
recall.
I don't recall.
Oh yeah, it was like an episode
Yeah.
where like they sat there and they watched someone get mugged or robbed or whatever, and they did nothing, and so they had to go. I think it was like the very last episode.
That was the finale then.
Yeah,
the one
yeah,
where
and
they
they
get jailed and everybody talks about,
Yeah.
how bad all of them are. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that was like the season finale.
The series
The
finale.
series finale.
Because they end up going to jail for not doing
for
anything.
not doing anything.
And
to
they're still
stop
sitting
the
in there today.
Yeah.
Suck. Yeah. Weird times.
Yeah. It really is. And, Pinochet
Chris
kinda hits
Mead's
it.
got to go in the chat. See you, Chris. Have a good night.
Take care, Chris. See you, man.
See ya.
Says they want to abolish the orgasm. Yes.
They do.
Yeah.
Well, 1984.
1984. Exactly.
Well, so we have to admit that the communists are much better at the whole struggle session, a subversion of a foreign power game than the U.S. has been.
Yeah.
And I do. The TikTok does one thing in China and it does another thing here, right? It's
Mhm.
building up manhood there and it's destroying manhood here. And what do you have? I've been reading a series from the great courses about the history of freedom.
Mhm.
And it talks about Athens and where that stuff came from and how the Athenians were just everyday people who told the Persians to, nope, that's it. You'll have to kill us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are not going to live under anyone's boot. You will have to kill us. And it's that spirit that moved its way to America and was prevalent for a while. And it just, you end up being so good at things and stuff comes to you and wealth and all of that, that you end up, falling. Even Athens fell. So did we. And I think that we already have. I think we're at that phase of the dinosaur just doesn't know it's dead yet because it's taken a while.
It's a good
And,
possibility. I'm not gonna.
Yeah,
rule
it's
that out.
it is. But
Well,
in the end,
I think
yeah.
that's kind of the global goal, right?
I need to learn
is to
Chinese.
get rid of freedom and I don't want to say democracy because it's like so cliche. Our democracy.
Mhm.
But I do think that they really do want to limit human freedoms, mobility, speech. I mean, just look at everything that the government's trying to do when it comes to limiting personal freedoms.
Mhm.
It's insane. I mean, and now the government's wanting a list of people who've watched certain YouTube videos. It's like, what the fuck is that?
Well, we're fucked.
Yeah, that's the one I was trying to lead to for that was that article. That one's really kind of scary.
It is,
So,
and it doesn't make any sense. It's like, who fucking cares? I mean, it's YouTube,
right.
I mean, it'd be one thing if it was like a terrorist recruitment video,
Yeah.
and suddenly you have all these people doing stuff. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Go investigate that. Get a list of people and see if they're being radicalized. But no,
Mhm.
what they're going after is gamers, guys. They're going after gamers because they are resistant to the whole wrong think scenario that they're trying to push.
Yeah.
Look at all the people who are fighting back against Sweet Baby Inc. and Black Girl Gaming or gamers
Yeah.
and all this other stuff that's going on. And
That's
yeah,
that's something I've been writing about, lately. Like gamers have been proven to be some of the most hardest group to take down.
Yeah.
We're the one that fights back the hardest. And yeah, I mean, it would be natural for them to be like, all right, well, we need to focus on I don't want to say like the warriors, obviously we're a bunch of people who just, we sit here and we play video games, but in our
Culture
minds,
warriors.
we're harder to conquer.
We're
We
the
fought
last
in the
ones
meme
to give
wars
up
of
the
2020.
language.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Well, it's funny because like what we saw back in 2014 with the original Gamergate, the reaction then, and that reaction is just as strong now,
Mm-hmm.
which is
Yeah.
I think fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And yeah, I mean, like, even like the cool thing about the whole Gamergate movement or just the gaming community in general, I think, is like it would be a lot easier for them to conquer us if we had if we didn't have an indie scene that was so strong,
Yeah.
an independent scene. which we absolutely do, thanks to in part Steam. Um, and it's just it's hard for them to conquer us and take our hobby from us when we make our own hobby. Like we make our own material that we love to share in together and have fun with together, you know? So yeah, I mean, with a community that strong, yeah, you probably do want to take it down a little bit. You know, it's scary
Yeah.
to these authoritarians.
Yeah, it really is. Before we go and jump over to the article talks, let me get these Rumble rants real quick. Pinochet's helicopter tour says again explanation that takes least assumptions, just like DHS and CIA ran CTIL / CISA in 2020. I don't remember what are those acronyms for, abbreviations for.
Which ones?
STIL.
DHS, Department of
CISA.
Homeland Security,
No.
CIA,
I know what DHS is. I'm talking about STIL and
CTIL, and CISA.
Yeah, what's that? It's not coming to me.
CTIL stands for clit. Oh, I misspelled it. Sorry. Let's see. It's comes from U.S. and
He
okay
says,
now.
DHS
All right, there's somebody knocking at my door now. It's the FBI. Thank you, Pinochet.
CISA
UK
is
CIA ordered ships to make a turn at its as it did, and fake distress claiming bad fuel and hurting economy more.
Cornerstone Telecommunications Infrastructure Limited, CTIL.
and CISA is Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency.
Okay, I don't remember that one. Honestly,
There's so much out there. I was just
Yeah.
on Reclaim the Net today, and I could not believe what I had missed in 2 days.
Yeah.
It just like, whoa. Yeah, I'm like,
Reclaim the Net is a scary place, by the way.
It really is.
it really, yeah, it scared the
I
crap
try
out
to
of
visit
me.
it at least like twice a week, and yeah, every
I
time
know.
it's
It's like I'll just scroll, look at the headlines sometimes, like Jesus Christ.
yeah,
I actually hear comics through the phone. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Whenever I do
It's
it, I was like,
fucking
damn.
ridiculous. They wanted to push violence to justify using Directive 51 and suspending the Constitution forever. They cannot let Trump win. They would rather be protected global oligarchs than beholden to the people. Yeah, pretty much. I mean that's I think a very accurate statement, Pinochet. I really do. And that's what I think that they're pushing for is not just an oligarchy, a new aristocracy is what I think they're trying to push for. You know, the whole idea, we rejected royalty and, you know, in this country, but it seems like we're trying to bring it back.
yeah, absolutely.
The
Absolutely.
monarchy. That's not, I wouldn't say royalty, the monarchy is what they're trying to bring back. Okay, Lindsay the Cynical Geek said, did you see the TikTok video of a woman described getting punched in the face walking through New York City? No, I didn't. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's like 8 to 10 different women just all of a sudden were like, oh, that happened to somebody else too?
Wow.
Because somebody just randomly walked up and punched them. And then, of course, they got on their phones and TikToked it. Some guy just punched me. And then they started linking. There was like 8 to 10 different women that I saw that all had the same thing happen.
That's what
The
happens
one that
when
I
people
saw-
don't value law and order anymore, and they'll just fucking do whatever.
The one that I saw was like this black woman who was responding to all these women and was like, you stop asking for your rights. Like, grow up, you know, put on your big girl panties and vote like a big girl, and start
okay. I was
voting
like,
for
what?
ways to take care of yourself.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying now.
Yeah,
It's like, stop asking for your rights. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Start like she said, get off your knees and stop begging for your rights. Is what
Oh,
she said.
begging. Okay. Got
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
That makes sense.
And it's like she's
Pinochet
right.
is-
Like you want to you like defend yourself. Like put yourself in a position where you can defend yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why, gun ownership is so important.
Mm-hmm.
Pinochet's helicopter tours. It's very easy to explain the left. Prove reality is flexible and there can be no God. Therefore, your rights are up for debate and possibly not inherent, but given. Yeah, that's one of the big things that not being a religious person, I still say that, you have God-given rights. And the reason why I say that is because of that very notion that if you say that your rights come from the government can take them away.
Mhm.
You say
Yeah.
your rights come from God, well, you can't take that away.
A higher authority.
Yeah, a higher authority.
Mhm.
And that's the thing that needs to be the most important that people understand is that your rights come from a higher authority and not from the government. Because if they come from the government, well, eventually you're just not going to have them anymore.
If
And
the
that's what
government
we
gives them,
constantly
they
see.
can take them away.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
You've been acting naughty. We're going to take away your right to free speech because of the hateful things. And that's what they're trying to do when it comes to free speech. That's the justification why they're trying to limit it and take it away is because, people are saying awful, hurtful things,
Yeah, and it's for your safety.
and it's for your safety.
And we'll determine which things are hate speech and which things are just us being mean. But it's not hateful towards the conservatives or towards the right or towards the religion or towards whatever.
But criticizing the government, that's bullying.
Or the alphabet community.
Yeah.
Well, that's like that, like Gamer Girls saying that we're going to sue that Park Place because they wrote an article about them that
Yeah, I
was
know.
negative.
Well,
Right.
I mean, the
I'm
funny
gonna
thing about
sue
it,
you.
I left out of my video talk when I was talking about that. I wanted to make the point of it's like it's funny how Kotaku can get away with legitimately writing hit pieces and lying and omitting information, but the fact that that Park Place does an article literally showing what they said, and
Yeah.
yes, you could say that there is editorialization of them saying it appears that they are discriminating, which I agree. You know,
It
if
seems.
you're gonna
Editorial.
Yeah.
The key word was it seems.
Yeah,
So
it seems.
you
Yeah,
cannot.
not a definite. Yeah,
Yeah.
but they threaten to sue. But Melanie Mack is an awful human being, and hit piece inbound coming from Kotaku. No big deal, right?
Yep.
And that's the thing too that really kind of sucks about it. It's hard to prove liable in these instances, and I kind of get it too because you do need to protect the press when it's actually doing its job. The
Mhm.
issue is it's not doing its job and it's there to manipulate and to misinform. And
Yes.
that's the reason why the whole thing with misinformation is so important. Who is the arbiter of truth in these instances? You don't want to be corporations. You don't want to be government because when they do bad things, they're going to say, oh, you're lying. You're making shit up. There's no proof. Oh, there's proof right here. It's fake news.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've seen the limits of journalism over the last few years, and
Yeah.
just in the last week, we've seen even more stupid,
Mhm.
responses. The whole NBC thing. I mean, I hate Ronna McRomney, but them hiring her and then all of them acting, so sanctimonious about, well, she's an election denier and we would never speak with an election denier. She's not just a normal Republican like Liz Cheney. She's got to be fired. We can't even have a conversation. It's like, Ronna is not a conservative in any way.
Mm-mm.
She's a Romney, so we don't even like her. But on top of that, you can pull clips of every single one of them. Rachel Maddow, every single one of them over there, election denying in 2016.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
So, okay, what are your
2000.
standards?
You were
They-
such a
they keep
racist
saying
for
that- They keep saying that we have to get her off the air because you can't give airtime and the prestigious name of NBC and MSNBC to this person who is an election denier. And it's like, okay, so you're saying that journalism is going to die or take a lethal hit because Ronna McDaniel is going to have a conversation with you. You guys already killed off everything about journalism within your own corporation.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what you view yourself as, Brandon. Do you view yourself as a journalist or do you view yourself as more of a blogger?
I've always tried to call myself a commentator first.
Okay.
I
Makes sense.
hesitate to call myself a journalist because I'm not the guy who usually goes out and gets the story. I'm the guy who analyzes it, talks about it, and,
Commentates, yeah.
yeah, commentates. So yeah, I would never like in casual conversation I call myself a journalist because it's just easier than like being like, well, I commentate and da. And people understand that faster, but no, I typically don't identify myself as one.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what I view myself as too, as a commentator.
Yeah.
More so than anything else.
Yeah.
I see you all as pretty much dicks. That's just me.
Well, yeah.
Mm.
Well,
Fair.
speaking of being a dick, Manflu, pull up the article.
Oh, there it is.
Do your job,
I'm
Manflu.
doing my job.
Yeah, Google is ordered to identify who watched certain videos, certain YouTube videos. Yeah, that's fucking insane.
Yeah. Why?
Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
really say.
Mm-mm.
Well, I've got to clear out my history of Count Dankula.
What are you talking about, man? His
You and that
videos are great.
racist dog.
Yeah, he actually his Mad Lad series is pretty fucking good.
So it says U.S. federal law enforcement and courts have gone a step further in the extreme efforts they are making to surveil people's activities online, including on Google's vast platforms. The latest is that the tech giant gets orders to identify all people who happen to be watching certain videos or live streams on YouTube. After directly censoring creators and channels, giving geolocation data of its users to the authorities in response to the controversial geofencing warrants, this is a new example of how Google can be used and abused in dragnet-style investigations. Unmasking everyone who watched a particular video is similar to geofencing in that it makes everyone a suspect. And this, a number of experts and rights groups believe, is unconstitutional, i.e. in violation of the Fourth Amendment. It is. That protects us from unreasonable searches. Orb writes about it, and several orders that name certain YouTube videos, citing one unsealed case originating in Kentucky, which is odd, and having to do with people viewing content posted by a user who law enforcement suspects of money laundering for selling Bitcoin for cash. Undercover agents had contacted the user, sending links to drone mapping and AR tutorials to next turn to Google, asking to be told who watched those videos.
Yep.
Those videos had more than 30,000 views, and a court ordered that any user who did between January 1st and 8th, 2003 must be thoroughly unmasked. So this is
Nope.
20 years ago.
Gosh, damn.
Right. The order
Fuck it,
wanted
well, hang on,
names, address,
YouTube, what year?
2003.
2003.
Dude, YouTube wasn't a thing in 2003.
This
Right,
must
but
be
it's
a typo.
talking about Google, not
Yeah.
YouTube
Yeah, okay.
specifically.
Because
They could have been
like,
searching for any video that was uploaded to Google,
well, they
anywhere
weren't
on
even
Google
owned
search.
by Google in 2003 because it didn't exist.
But there were
I'm-
videos, right?
I try to remember. I want to say YouTube really got start in like 2004, 2005. 2005 was when I was aware of it. I have personal history that I can't get into, other than the fact that I will say I worked in a data center. And that data center is where YouTube started for the most part. But yeah, YouTube was started by a group of dudes, and it wasn't until 2007 when it was sold off to Google. And the guys that started YouTube made a lot of fucking money, by the way.
Right, but since Google was the major search engine, I mean, it could have been MySpace. It could have been wherever anybody was posting these videos.
Yeah.
They're just saying, since Google is the biggest search, search bar,
Mm-hmm.
that's who they went to see who is finding that video.
Yeah. But yeah, the whole thing is, I mean, that's kind of weird. Really fucking weird.
It's really it's. I'm kind of lost on how particular they're gonna get. Like, how do I explain this? Everybody watches a certain video for a certain reason, and especially when you go down YouTube rabbit holes, you might wind up on a weird side of YouTube where you're watching these videos just because you're bored and you want to see what else is going on in the world.
Yeah.
Yep.
Doesn't mean you're guilty or agree with anything, right?
Well, you could be researching an article or researching something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like how? Well, maybe even that's just off limits now. It's like it's too dangerous.
Yeah.
Like you might get radicalized.
It's Big Brother.
Yeah.
All right. The whole phone thing that we have and that tracking you with the IMI number that doesn't change, all that stuff and everything. VPNs really aren't going to help you much anymore and all that kind of stuff. Big Brother has already happened, and the Patriot Act was a big problem for that. But they were doing that before and collecting that data. It's all been there.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of stuff that just scares you. And if you, this is what they said that they were collecting. They want names, addresses, phone numbers, account activity of each Google user, and IP address of everyone who watched the videos without an account.
That is fucking bizarre.
That
I
is
mean,
crazy.
Yeah, that is a fucking dragnet. Real quick, I want to get this from Ruben because he says that Google started in 1998 and YouTube was 2005. I thought it was 2005, but I wasn't quite sure.
So, but they were doing videos and stuff on Google and that before that they were experimenting with things, and then YouTube, when they bought them, they realized that they couldn't do it as well as YouTube was, and they brought it back.
No, I mean that was a big fucking thing where it worked at too.
It was huge.
Yeah, it was very huge. But yeah, I mean, okay, like I said, I worked at a data center on the regular, not all the time. I would say a couple of times a year, the FBI would show up for obvious reasons. Because you work at a data center for people that basically you're leasing servers to people. Occasionally people buy something. Sometimes they're using fraudulent credit cards. I mean, there's a lot of things that happen. And sometimes you have illicit activity that is happening. So what ends up happening is that FBI shows up. I'm not the one who dealt with any of this crap because I did not work in the data center. I assume they show up with a warrant, and basically at that point, the ops guys would go pull the machine and hand them the hard drives.
Right. But I mean,
that's typically how it went.
And that's what they would do. And I get it. You have to comply with those warrants and things you get there. It's just, and they say in this article that it's fair to expect the law enforcement won't have access to that information about probable cause. But understand that the Patriot Act and all that stuff happened before YouTube was created.
That is correct.
So they have all those FISA courts and all that stuff. You don't know what happens there.
Yeah.
And, the tagline, democracy dies in the dark. Yes, it does. It dies when our judicial system is done in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
They released something, and I won't say what it was because we're over on YouTube. They released something about a recent event, controversial event, right? And the CDC released it. Every single word on the document was redacted.
Holy shit.
So it was a Freedom of Information Act thing. They had to release it.
Blank piece of paper.
And it was just a black box of everything being redacted. So they could say, and it's very lawyery.
Yeah.
Right. The joke, what do you call 50,000 lawyers at the bottom of the ocean? A good start?
Yeah.
Yes. Lawyering and administrative state, because your lawyers are created around administrative processes, taxes, and dealing with the government, accidents, and law, insurance, and things stuff like that. So they're built around administrative process, right? And when you don't have many administrative processes, you don't meet a whole lot of lawyers. But if you send a whole lot of people to law school, including a lot of people from outside the country, you've got to make up jobs for them because they have hellacious student loans.
Yep.
Yeah, it sucks. But there was a. Go ahead.
It does. I was gonna say there's some comments I want to get real quick. I also want to get Pinochet's Romo rant. Emperor says, Ian, the big tuna server admin. I was not a server admin. I was a software developer. I helped. What the shit I wrote was basically dealing with our provisioning system.
Mm-hmm.
And that's primarily what I did. So there were several things I was responsible for, like features that we were releasing, like doing SQL Server databases and crap like that. I mean, yeah, it was all like server provisioning garbage before we discovered there was better server automation out there. Yeah, it was funny. One of those times the FBI showed up, I answered the door. I wish I answered it, but I opened the door because normally they would show up, ring the doorbell. I'm like, hey, usually it's a delivery. It's like, oh, two guys in suits. Maybe they're meeting with the boss. It's like, oh, we're the FBI. All right, let me get the guy that you want to talk to. Sure shit ain't me. Old gray guy says, only dumb fucks use YouTube. Well, I can tell you, buddy, there's a lot of dumb fucks out there then. A lot of people who use YouTube.
I are dumb.
Yeah.
Fucker. Now, there is, and, it is what it is.
Yeah, pretty much.
People are going to be what they want to do with that. You try and do the best you can. But.
Yeah. Frightening Me says, democracy is 2 wolves and a sheep deciding what's for dinner. Yeah.
Yep.
I love the explanation of the Republic is 2 wolves and a sheep with an AR-15 arguing what's for dinner.
Right.
Always like that. Pinochet's helicopter tours in our democracy. 200 million Americans can democratically vote away the lives of 3 million federal employees, at least in the Republic of Argentina. Feds only get fired.
Truth.
Yeah, that's fucking great. Yeah, TZ Burton, 19 watching on YouTube is asshole. 135 on Rumble. Yeah, that's pretty cool, dude.
Yeah, it's a lot. I'd see 150 now.
Yeah,
it's good.
It's nice. It's very
Rumble
nice.
is doing some good things. The super chats on Rumble now show up at the top of the chat. At least I just noticed it. So this stuff may be there. I just noticed it. And you do the ads there too.
Yeah. The
With
adding
Jeff
the
was on
ad
his phone.
functionality was a huge thing.
Yeah.
Huge.
And now
Channeling the
Jaffa
inner
was
mechanism.
found the new Yelling at Parked Cars channel.
And
Yes,
there
there
you
he
go.
So the article ends up. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh,
All right.
okay.
All right. So the article ends up, there was a separate case in New Hampshire concerning a bomb threat in a public place and people watching a live stream of the police searching the area. The live stream was possible thanks to a camera on a nearby business premises. Next, the police wanted to know exactly who watched it, including on a YouTube channel belonging to Boston and Maine Live, which has 130,000 subscribers.
Why? I don't get that.
Right. So police, I have many people in my family who work for police department. I am against a city police force. I am for an elected sheriff
Yes.
and deputies inside of that.
Yeah, and I say that my brother's a police officer in the city of Galveston, and I've always said though, like,
Oh, Galveston.
people don't understand that the police force, a municipal police force, is really just the mayor's private army when it
Yeah.
comes down to it.
Mhm.
But an elected sheriff is a constitutionally like bound
Position.
elected
Right.
individual.
And that's really, when you look at it, that's the difference.
Mhm.
And police forces were started as independent things in New York City and stuff.
Right.
And, they're inherently corrupt. Tammany Hall, we can go through a lot of that stuff if we want. But yeah, your sheriff needs to be the be all end all. And you started getting television shows about the sheriffs in the backwoods and the things they did from that, movies about that. They started attacking that. And there were some sheriffs that are pretty, corrupt. And there are police that are pretty corrupt. Anyone in power is going to be corrupt. That's why you have to put them in check like
Yeah.
that. So,
Yep.
Did you guys see that they dismissed one of the lawsuits that X has brought against
Yes.
somebody?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw that. Citing, oddly enough, of all things, free speech.
Right. Right. So
Go figure.
yeah. And you want me to bring that one up? Or you just want to talk about it?
But you can bring it up while we talk about it. We don't have to read the article, but yeah, I mean that.
Yeah.
The whole thing is kind of interesting. So, the thing I find kind of interesting about it is that you have this organization, and it is named in the article, and they basically were using, I'm guessing, Twitter's APIs to collect data.
Mm-hmm. The Center
And-
for Countering Digital Hate, CCDH.
And so basically they were using that to smear Twitter.
Mhm.
And the judge said, oh, no, it's free speech. It's fine.
Yeah, so they intended to copy the order there, but X also claimed the CDCH selectively used data from the platform to create a scare campaign, drawing away advertisers and causing significant financial loss. But the judge interpreted the lawsuit against the pro-censorship group as an attempt by X to silence the organization. Through the California's anti-SLAPP law that prevents lawsuits aiming to stifle free speech, a federal judge on Monday overruled the case lodged by tech tycoon Elon Musk.
Okay,
All right.
manipulating data and misrepresenting data is not free speech.
No, that's actual slander and libel.
Yeah.
But he's finding out, just like Trump found out when he got to office, that he wasn't different. Elon Musk is finding out at this super high level that none of us have ever been around, the billionaire level, right?
Yeah.
Brandon's got to get going.
Yeah, hey guys, I'm
Is it-
sorry. I gotta take off.
No problem, man.
Do you need to bolt like immediately, or do you want an outro?
No. I gotta roll.
All right,
Sorry,
man.
guys.
We'll see you.
dude.
No worries.
Cheers, man.
Take
Take
it
care.
easy, y'all.
We'll
Later,
see
man.
ya. Baby throwing up, probably.
Something like that.
Something like that. But what Elon Musk is finding out here is that California was no friend of his.
Oh,
Yeah, and neither was Delaware. He was entitled to the money, and they didn't give it to him. And so this is what he's finding out. He's bringing these lawsuits. He's right, and he's got enough money. He doesn't have to worry about it. So he's just bringing this stuff up. But he's going to lose.
Mhm.
And he needs to move everything. I think when he put the poll out, should I move my headquarters to Texas? Everybody said yes, but don't go to Austin.
Mhm.
Go somewhere else.
Well, I mean, yeah, and that facility that he built for Tesla is like right outside of Austin, so it's not in Austin city limits. It's a good ways away from Austin, but it's still pretty close because it's the tollway that basically goes around Austin is where it's at.
The loop.
Yeah, the loop. So
Yep.
yeah, and taking that to Dallas, bypassing Austin is fucking phenomenal because Austin is a fucking hellscape when it comes to traffic.
Right.
Yeah, because like even at like not even rush hour, not even lunchtime, like all the off hours, you hit downtown Austin, you come to a screeching fucking halt, and it takes an hour to get through.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
Fort Worth and Dallas are pretty bad too, as far as traffic goes.
Fort Worth and Dallas, it's bad because it's like bumper to bumper traffic, but it's bumper to bumper traffic going 80
That
fucking miles an
moves.
hour.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that's bad about it, especially when it's raining, because nobody fucking knows how to drive in the rain in Texas.
Yeah.
It's pretty stupid. But yeah, it is what it is.
Well, one of the things I was talking to somebody when I was down in Houston, like when it rains, it's so hot in Houston and humid that the exhaust from the vehicles goes up in the air and then comes back down. At least part of it. And then
Mhm.
when it gets to raining, all of that grit and grimy stuff that's in the road comes out
Mhm.
and up, and it makes it very slick.
Yes.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
All the oils and shit from tires.
Yeah.
Yeah. And all
Yeah.
that stuff from there. And the stuff that's because you're leaving a lot of tire on the road when it's that hot
Mhm.
from there. So that makes sense. But yeah, you're going to have to move out. You're going to have to do those things. And when we were in watching Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, they had this Civil War trailer. And Miss was like, "What's this?" I told her, "Oh, it's that movie Civil War and all that stuff." And she goes, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, the Western Alliance is California and Texas." She goes, "California and Texas would never come together like that." And I'm like, "Yes, I'm
Yep.
sure it's going to be, whatever that happens to be and stuff from there." But it just looked stupid.
Yeah.
Well, the whole movie is to glorify journalists.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's
And,
something special in keeping our country together.
Well, I mean, I would argue there was a point in time where that was the case, but not anymore.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
So trying to glorify them now doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If it was a call to journalists to actually do journalism,
Do journalism. Yeah.
then
that's-
maybe.
That's different. I want to get this from Lord Shax. He says, you should do what Letter Crowder does with the dump button, YouTube dump button. Yeah, I need to figure out how that works because you need to have like specific gear to be able to do that, I
Yeah.
believe.
You need to have a certain kind of caster.
Well, you're
Yeah.
going through, you could go through OBS and put in a delay and then what everybody come into that and do that, but it kind of defeats the purpose of having StreamYards and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I mean, if you're
Right.
using OBS, I mean, that's still going to affect the other streams because you're hitting
Mhm.
both those.
Well, I mean, we're remote.
Yeah.
If we were in the same studio, it's different. Everything goes into one of those studio caches like you have on your desk.
Yeah.
Everything goes into there, and then one output comes out, and you can put a delay in that.
Mm-hmm.
There's an actual dump button that you can put there.
Right.
As we did
but,
that in radio.
Yeah.
but it's not a true dump button because it's still broadcasting live on Rumble.
Yeah.
They
Right.
are big enough that they could be doing two completely separate streams, one to
Yeah.
Rumble,
Well,
one
when
to
you have-
YouTube,
when you have
and
the-
you just put up a banner on YouTube and keep
Mhm.
going.
When you have a board in front of you and you're actually doing that stuff, you can split your signal
Yeah.
out to different ones. You go, one goes here, one goes there, and it's literally a button that you hit there that just cancels that feed. It goes out there, and then that runs into what am I putting there as a placeholder,
Right.
and it's just that runs. So there's ways you can do it.
Yep.
And just got to get out there
And
take
it
a look.
requires some money.
Yeah. Temporarily. It does.
Certain
Not
extent,
with
yeah.
not with the stuff that we use.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's temporarily mutes the show and displays go to Rumble banner. Yeah, I mean, I've watched him when he's done it, but yeah, that's one of those things that it'd be kind of cool. It requires some gear though. Probably not going to get anything like that anytime soon. Guess what? Considering how far Rumble has come, YouTube wasn't built in a day. Yeah, no, agreed, man. I mean, I remember YouTube back in 2005. Hell, I mean, I remember from back in 2017, and just like interface wise, just like both the front end and the back end of YouTube has changed so dramatically. And web technologies too have changed so dramatically in the last 5 fucking years too.
Right.
So
Yeah, there's a whole
it's-
industry for streaming now.
Yeah.
EV Mux, StreamYard,
Mhm.
the 50, 60 other ones.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, things have changed so fucking much. I guess really in the last 80 years, really. But yeah, I mean, it takes time, and Rumble plays catch up. And having worked for a company that was constantly trying to play catch up with another company, the only thing you could do is really differentiate yourself from them. Because if you're constantly playing catch up with your competition, you're never going to win.
Which is what I think they're trying to do with the Rumble Studio.
Yeah.
But I don't see a lot of us adopting it as for anything except for a backup.
Not at this stage. Probably later on when it comes more of a mature product.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's different.
It
Does
depends on
not
what you're
have the
trying to
features
do.
we need
Yeah.
at the moment. But for a brand new streamer that's just needing something to go live, yeah, that's a good innovation they made for that.
What were you going to say, Tox?
I said for starting out and all that stuff. If you're it depends on what you want to do.
Mhm.
So if you're just sitting there and putting out video, going live and just winging it, and you don't have a whole lot going on, you got a background and it's just you, yeah, that'd be great.
Yep.
You can do some
Mhm.
videos and some stuff there, but yeah, it's not there yet, but they'll get there. And they got there with the ats, and they're getting there with some of the stuff. They'll figure out how to stay up with some of these denial of service things and get their data centers moved out. But you're going to have to go there. We're going to have to stick to that, right?
Mhm.
And we're going to have to do it. We had 150. We got 150 now. It's going on a Rumble and 21 on the YouTube channel. And there's some on Twitter, right? Twitter's going to be able to do that. But Twitter doesn't have any of these things. It doesn't have chat that with the @ symbol. Oh, well, no, it does. It has chat
Yeah,
with
I
the
mean,
@ symbol,
it
but
does
there's no
have
monetization,
chat.
right? Because you haven't been accepted in the monetization yet. We can't do super chats or anything there. So it's really, that's what people want to do is they want to come in and participate in the conversation.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, it is what it is.
Indeed. Yeah, and there's like 234 people watching on Twitter.
Yeah.
Not sure how that works.
Well, I think that's how many
it's
people have
calculated.
viewed. That's actual views, right?
It's actual views. Okay.
Some people who have viewed, not how many people are concurrently doing at the same time. Because
Yeah.
I've dropped
Yeah.
some stuff in there, and they'll get to it.
Yeah.
With that, and I get where Elon Musk is coming from. He's going to do it a step at a time, and that's Rumble
Well,
to
it
me
needs
focused
to
on
be-
the wrong things.
Yeah, it needs to be
But I didn't know
iterative.
what was going on.
Yeah. Okay, let me get back over to my star chats real quick. TZ Burton says, what is hate speech? Is it illegal? No. Hate speech is anything I don't like. Cause harm or protected by the First Amendment. Yeah, and it comes back down to, calls to violence is not protected speech, but hate speech is you're allowed to not like things. That's the thing that annoys me is you're allowed to hate people. You're allowed to hate things, ideas, concepts. Hate is just another emotion. The issue with hate is when somebody takes it and makes it actionable, right?
Right.
When you go and take that hate and use it to conduct violence is where you draw the line. That's the thing that needs to be talked about and needs to be pushed, because, like I said, you're allowed to not like things. You're not allowed to like people. I mean, sure, everybody has met somebody in their life that didn't like them for whatever reason. That's just how it is, man. People.
But doxing somebody with a call to action? Is
Yeah,
a
that's
different
different.
thing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like doxing. I don't consider doxing to be free speech. Even if that person's information is available online, I won't show it. Even like when I was looking at the Sweet Baby Inc. stuff and I was looking at all their employees, I wasn't about to pull up LinkedIn and show it, even though it's there. But it's a really good resource to see what people have worked on, and hey, oh, look at this. This person had a connection to feminist frequency. That's kind of interesting. Yeah, stuff like that. It's pretty wild. Pinochet's helicopter tours. Okay. So downrange, terrorists love to film their IDE ambushes. And the Humvees had the Warlock system that jams signals. People calling in bomb threats want to film and overreaction of their swatting. Okay. All right. So that kind of makes sense why they'd want that footage, or who is watching
To see
that.
who would have an interest in it for a
But
reason
at the
other
same
than
time-
just
Yeah.
seeing it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. That totally does make sense. But at the same time, it's like, it's a lot of people. If a lot of people are watching something that's live, that's going on, I don't know. That's where it kind of gets kind of weird. But I don't know.
Yeah.
TZ Burton for $5. Also, the previous one is $5 from Pinochet. Thank you, sir. If someone
Thank you.
is on both YouTube and Rumble, I watch on Rumble. Rumble is better for your phone, and I am always on my phone. Plus, creators are getting a bigger cut of the commie tube. Yeah.
And for the
That
most
was
part,
actually something
that's what
Rumble-
we've asked people to do.
Yeah, that's something Rumble tweeted out, was to download the app
Mhm.
and try it in the app and get the notification on it. They're doing, I think, the app development first.
Yeah.
From there, and then web. I'm just a old fuddy-duddy and watch the web stuff. Good.
Indeed. Let me grab this from Pinochet real quick.
Randall loves me long time. Thank you, Randall.
Indeed. And panelists, you need to stop bowing to the establishment. You are the media now. I'm not going to disagree with us being the media now. You have the high ground. You have no duty to give them the benefit of the doubt to others or believe media is truthful. Well, I mean, that's the thing I always talk about is how we all know the media lies. And it's
Right.
always, I'm not going to say it's shocking to me when I see it, but it's different when you actually see it happening in real time, when you already know what happened. I like to bring up the whole thing with BLM and the fucking truck incident, where
Yeah.
I saw the footage, the raw footage on Twitter. And I was walking past the news and they're showing it. And they basically said that the protesters rushed in to help the driver because they're trying to sell this narrative that the 18-wheeler was out of control. And it's like, that's not what fucking happened. Yeah,
Surrounded, and then he got out of there. Yeah.
He was surrounded and they pulled him out. Yeah.
Yep. But
Yeah.
I mean, even though we may have the high ground, we cede that high ground if we just say whatever. I mean, we still
Yeah.
are. What we try to do is be as thoughtful and honest as we can. I mean, that's why we sometimes haven't commented on things that happen immediately. I mean, sometimes there is. I mean, what the news does is they report immediately, whether they're reporting right or wrong.
Right.
We try to at least do a little bit
Retraction
of
on page
investigation
6.
into stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, my whole thing is not giving the establishment the benefit of the doubt, because I don't do that. A lot of it for me, when it comes to certain things, if out of the gate something doesn't add up, I'll say it. But if we had like several incidents in a row where like 3 to 5 bridges got collapsed by tankers or cargo ships that lost control, and it's like, okay, that's a fucking pattern. But you know, it sometimes accidents happen, and you gotta rule that out before you can go to conspiracy. This is conversations I have with my mom all the time when it comes to conspiracies, because I tell her that she focuses on the wrong things, because there are things that are out there in the public, right in front of your face, like with the WEF. Did you guys notice that, by the way? The WEF pulled their Great Reset website.
Yes, it's gone. I
It
also
is.
want to say thanks for. I appreciate the fact that you survived telling your mother she was wrong.
Yeah.
Did you also ask her to calm down? I'm just wondering.
I didn't say she needed to calm down.
I know,
but I did say
I'm
she was
just-
blowing
I'm
things out of
giving you shit.
proportion. I know. But yeah, I mean, it's the whole thing is that for me, to get to the conspiracy, there's a lot of other things I want to rule out first before I immediately go, okay, it's a thing. However, there's definitely times like we talked about with the food processing plants burning down. There's like, okay, that is like way too many things happening all at once for it to not.
Yeah,
be
that's like a what the fuck,
strange.
dude moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. At that point, I'm trying to rule out the conspiracy before I'm ruling out the other things, right? Because it's just, yeah, there's too much fucking weirdness going on.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, Brahma, if you want to dip out now, you can go ahead, but we'll probably go for another 30 minutes.
'Kay.
Because Brahma's on Shags' show tonight. So.
Clay's like, damn, comics, what did you do to piss off Monkey Jeebus? Those memes are rough.
God.
Yes, they. Oh, Jesus Christ, he's right, and I'm saying that.
All right, now I gotta go fucking look.
No, he's putting you in a lot of gay pornos with
With culture.
culture. Yeah,
How unusual.
shocking.
Yeah, the stuff with 70s is pretty disturbing too.
Oh no, what is he doing to those sheep? Jesus Christ, Robbie,
The one I thought was
what
really
is
funny,
wrong with you?
The one I thought was really funny is the one where he refaced me onto the kid on the backseat of the bike.
Oh yeah, that was
It says
great.
woke culture trying to watch a movie in peace. And
Peace.
it's a big ass in the kid's face. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, that one's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Spoiler alert. Sorry.
Yep.
Well, I do have memes. Do you want to dump YouTube and go to YPC or to Rumble, or what do you want to do? I mean,
Well,
not memes. What are those things called?
Headlines.
headlines.
Headlines. Yes.
Headlines. Okay. Yeah. We will dump YouTube because some of these stuff might be too spicy for YouTube. But thank
Yeah,
you.
this last one I just wrote. Yeah, that's going to be problematic.
But anyway, folks, thank you for hanging out with us on the YouTube side. You can come and join us on Rumble. Pretty sure most of you are already here to begin with, but yeah, thank you for supporting on both sides. But I'm ending it. So 3, 2, 1. Goodbye, YouTube.
All right.
I'll go
Yeah,
ahead
we'll drop
I'll go
the
ahead
link
and bounce
too.
out and let